Hello, everyone. My name is John Jenkins, and in case you didn't know, I'm a big fan of TEDx Talks, and I was watching. I watch TEDx Talks pretty much every day. There's so many of them, and they they have these catchy titles that are so interesting. And I just love watching them. And I came across this one TEDx talk. I couldn't resist. The title was why why don't TEDx talks change people's behavior? Basically, there's this guy. His name is Tom Asseker, I believe. Anyway, he's talking about how people love TEDx talks. TEDx talks are extremely popular on YouTube, and especially in person. People spend thousands of dollars to go, thousands of dollars per ticket to go to a TEDx talk, and he was lamenting the fact that people go to TEDx talks, and when they leave, they don't do what the TEDx talk was saying. They don't change their lives around what the TEDx talk was promoting, and I saw through that. I saw through his logical reasoning. I saw through his reasoning pretty quickly. Uh, Ultimately, what he said was the reason why that people don't do what TEDx Talks tells them to do is because human beings are irrational. That was his ultimate point. And the first mistake he made was that he characterized TEDx Talks as something that you should do. He asked, why don't we do what we should do, in referring to TEDx Talks as if TEDx Talks are the ultimate good idea. Well, as if the ideas that are presented in TEDx Talks are the ultimate ideas that everyone should follow, and there's no other way, basically. And that was his first mistake because uh, just because TEDx said it doesn't make it the best idea. And that's not the main point, though. The main point is that TEDx Talks was never meant to change people's lives. And the founders of TEDx Talks were always very honest about this in their business model. Basically, uh, it's like the learning annex. You invite this celebrity, and in their case, minor obscure celebrities. If you go to the learning annex, they'll have the big name guys like Bill Gates and Donald Trump. But for TEDx Talk, it's more this obscure. Maybe if you were really interested in science, you would know somebody who's famous for studying climate change, or if you are really interested in being rich, you might know this. If you're young and you want to be rich, you might know of uh, other rich young people like Ty Lopez, and you want to go there so you can you know not just to see them in person, get their autograph, rub shoulders with a minor celebrity, but also you want to rub shoulders with each other because remember, uh, TEDx talks are $1,000, $2,000 a ticket. So the people that go there are already wealthy. they're already in the um, the high income, high earners, uh, wealthy class. So basically, people that go to TEDx Talks, they're not going there to change their lives, to drop everything and 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 follow this new doctrine. That's for the suckers, which is, suckers I'm defining as us who watch it on YouTube. We who don't have enough money to invest in going into a live TED talk, who think we can just listen to some lecture over the internet and it's gonna change our lives. You know, uh, the people who go to TED Talks, they're going there to rub shoulders. Uh, increase, use the wealth that they've already gained to increase their wealth even more and get new jobs. You know, meet similarly wealthy people, and poor people are really just locked out of that. And I equate, Big Think. If you've ever seen the Big Think channel, I equate that with sort of the same thing because it it's just sort of this intellectual. I wouldn't call it. It is sort of like intellectual pornography. It's a title, a subject that tickles the mind, but when you actually watch a TED Talk or a Big Think, it's really superficial. You know, you can tell that they haven't really thought it through that much. It's like the the one YouTube video that I've watched more than any other, other than music. The one non-music YouTube video I've watched more than any other is Jeremy Rifkin, um, the end of capitalism and the Internet of Things. And I suggest that everybody go watch that, not because I believe wholeheartedly with everything that it says. In fact, I made a rather dissenting comment at the bottom of that video if you want to see that. Uh, Basically, it's an interesting. It's so like I love destruction, and when you talk about I like to think about the destruction of the United States, destruction of the strongest country in the world, destruction of the strongest military in the world. That's why I'm so interested in World War II and things of that nature. So uh, so that's why when I see a comment like the end of capitalism, how will our country fall? There's sort of this nativist survivalist feeling that I get that's very uh, uh, titillating, and so basically, I it's my favorite video, not my favorite non-music video on YouTube, but there was a lot of things wrong with his formulation, his opinion, his methodology. It was basically pop psychology. If you think about it, it's this sort of anecdotal, catch your ear type of thing where you know you it's not gonna last you. You know you can read my comment on the video, the End of Capitalism and the Internet of Things by Jeremy Rifkin on the Big Think channel if you want to know more about that comment. But back to TEDx Talks, which, like I said, I equate Big Think and TEDx Talks because they're basically the same category of video, um, minus the audience. But, TEDx talkers are really, uh, they really take themselves too seriously. And I say this with all due respect, the majority of TED talkers I've seen, it seems like, they seem like, uh, they seem like what I would call professional TEDx talkers. Basically, their whole paradigm is I'm going to come up with a title that's catchy, that, throws you off, like, uh, for example, if I were to say, you can live forever, not in the Christian sense, in the cryogenic sense, or the stem cell research sense. If I say you can live forever, something that most people say that's not true, but if the video says it's true, then he must have some sort of, this must be some new information, some valuable new information that I need to get in my head so I can change. Basically, when you start out with TED Talks, if you've never seen a TED Talks or a big thing before, you think every time you see a video title, you think it's gonna change your life. You know, I became a writer this year, and so I watched a whole bunch. Before that, I watched a whole bunch of big things about writing, and you know, then I watched the TEDx talks about writing this month, and so you know, I'll watch a TEDx talk based on what I'm doing now, but it's not going to change me. And like I said, the reason is that TEDx talkers take themselves too seriously. They're basically they're only they have accomplishments, but as far as that specific TEDx talker is concerned, their only job is to make you watch. They, you know, they're when it comes to a TEDx talk video, their only accomplishment is to convince you that they have something to say. It's not that you know they 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 don't have to give you something that's really gonna change your life. You know, it's like they 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 it's a big letdown when you think about what they're saying. When you try to apply it to your life, you know, it's like with Big Think. I saw this Big Think with the author of Life of Pi, and he was saying for advice to writers, he said take a break. Basically, and when he said that, he said take a break as far as if you're faced with writer's block or something like that. And I started to think about it, and it was like, take a break. I mean, now that appeals to my sense of laziness because when it comes to doing stuff, I much rather do nothing all day. Of course, I read 4 hours a day. Uh, I watch TEDx talks, and I write 30 minutes a day. But I write business plans. Well, I took a break from that, but my day's full of activity. But I'd much rather not do anything because that appeals to my laziness. So when he says, if you can't think of a good idea for your writing, just take a break. But then I thought about it using my own brain. These YouTube videos don't think for me. I still have to use my brain. You know, and basically, if uh, when I write, I come up with ideas as I come up with ideas by writing. The act of writing is how I come up with ideas. It's while I'm typing on the page that the ideas come out. I can't think of an idea while I'm you know lying in bed or eating a sandwich. I can't think of an idea, and um, then it then it then that's what I write about. First of all, I don't have memory capacity, so if I think of a good idea at 9 a.m., by the time uh, 1 p.m. comes up and it's time to write, I've already forgotten what I was thinking about. But so the actual act of writing is how I come up with ideas for writing. So basically, TEDx talkers, it, and every time it's like it's like every time I watch a TEDx talker or a big thinker, the speakers, by the end of the video or, after the introduction, I come to the conclusion that, I'm pretty much smarter than this guy, you know, and, another TEDx talk was this guy talking about how he was talking about simulation theory, the theory that we are not truly alive and we're just basically uh, in a dream world. We're in a computer simulation, basically. And you know, he talked in a very uh, I'll say he talked in a very fake geniusy uh, manner, and he talked in a way that made you think that he was thinking at a higher level, but really it was just a bunch of circular logic, meaning, you know, well, basically he said if we were living in a simulation, would we know it? Basically, and that was his logic. That if we were living in a simulation, we would react the same way. Therefore, we are living in a simulation, or therefore we could be living in a simulation. And that's not proof of anything. That's not even a good suggestion. It it really comes to the really issue is that you know when he he was skilled in making you think that he was smart. He was skilled in making you think that he had figured something out, and that's all you need to do a TED Talk. Because when people go there, they're not focused on what this guy's saying. They're focused on, oh, the the governor is sitting over there. I can talk to him at the cotillion afterwards. The alderman is sitting right there. I can pitch my new business idea in his ward. So that's a real issue. And You know, uh, so what it's just like I guess that's just me, but a lot of times when I listen to people, when I listen to most people think, when I listen to most people speak, I'm sorry, I come to the conclusion that I'm actually smarter than this person. I might not be as intelligent as them. I don't have as high an IQ as them, but you know, I make better decisions. I have uh, better logic, basically. And you know, that might seem I don't know if the word is narcissism, but that might seem as if I think I'm smarter than I am. But you know, I'm learning like everybody else, but it seems that I come to the right conclusion faster than other people. Uh, so, and it's not, at least in my opinion, when 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 I'm looking at people who do TEDx talks, I'm more likely to change my behavior uh, based on what they did to get onto TEDx talk than I am uh, to change than I am likely to change it based on the TEDx talk. It's like I said about the TEDx talk before. Their only job, it's basically clickbait. Their only job is to make you think that they have something important to say, and then uh, talk you in circles for about 18 minutes. That's the point of a TEDx talk. But they had to do something to get invited to a TEDx talk. They had to do something important, and uh, I was I was introduced through YouTube to Ty Lopez, and he says he's rich. I don't know if that's true, but I watched a video on his channel, and he quoted somebody. He said, the secret to success is double down on what works. And I haven't completely applied that to my life, but that's something that I'm more likely to apply to my life than what he said in his TEDx talk, which is the 33%, which basically he says 33% of the people you deal with are beneath you, 33% of the people you deal with are at your level, and 33% of the people you deal with are above your level. And that's the secret to success. And the other video where he talked about double down on what works, that that was something that I could apply to my life, something that made sense, something that wasn't uh, too it wasn't shallow. It was something that was a more of a moral argument. If something does work, you need more of it so that more can work in your life. And if more works for you, you can make things work for other people. And so that made sense. But his TEDx talk where he's talking about you know a third beneath you, a third at your level, a third above you. Basically, you know, if you have to use other people to become successful, then if you have to say, you know, basically, I had already learned my lesson. I went to college. I tried to rub elbows with the right people, go to the right uh, uh, presentations. Basically, I used to go to things that were like TEDx talks, but they were more advertisements for computer programs. I used to go to those places to uh, I knew they didn't want to talk to me because I was too beneath them, and that was the point. Is that if you're gonna be successful in life, you know if you're gonna be successful in life, you need to not rely on your friends, and it you cannot rely on friends to do the work for you because um, if they're not you, then they don't value your vision the way that you do. They have their own vision. You know, it's like somebody I know. I mean, he can destroy me on the chessboard. He can think 10 steps ahead of me on the chessboard. But the vision that he has for his life, I cannot deal with it. I cannot co-sign it because it's just like it's just like basically I'd rather have more time to focus on my vision than to have a triplex of uh, of different egos that I have to placate and different people who want to pull me in one direction or another direction when I just want to go forward. And if you've ever, I mean, most people have been to high school, and you waste your time trying to be popular, or you try to be popular for being unpopular, which is basically all I could hope for. Uh, but you know, uh, wait, what was I gonna say again? Oh yeah, yeah. Basically, you try to be as popular as you can get, for being famous or being infamous, and uh, but you never get there because whoever was born with the best, whoever was born with chiseled abs, or who can run a marathon, or who can, bench press a car, or who looks like a movie star, or has, you know, uh, throws the best house parties, or whoever, you know, parents buy them a car. I mean, they've got it locked down for the whole 4 years, and there's no opening for the top spots. So uh, so you're not gonna get to associate with people who are above your level, and because they they have the power, they don't need you. So you can't be with them. You don't want to be dragged down by people who have a gutter mentality. And the people who are on your level, they're your competitors. They're not trying to be cool with you. So if you're trying to be successful, you gotta take it as it is. You gotta do this entrepreneurship and business and sociology and uh, science. You got to do this on your own. You know, if you enlist other people's help, it's as your employees, your uh, your employees, or possibly your partners. So I'll come up with another video. I know this one went long. I've got some more stuff to say. So let me know what you think. What's the real reason why TEDx Talks does not change people's behavior, change people's lives the way that they that some people would expect. You know. Uh, so my name is John Jenkins. Have a nice day.